What is up, and welcome to SGPN's The Daily Dog. I'm your host, Britton Hess. I'm here with my favorite Underdog fantasy pick-em plays for Monday, November 4th, 2024. If you're new to Underdog Fantasy, sign up with promo code DailyDog. That's DAILYDOG at UnderdogFantasy.com or on the Underdog Fantasy app. Again, if you're new, use that promo code DailyDog for that 50% deposit match bonus worth up to $1,000. All right, we had a good Saturday. We hit our 20-ish X slip for college football. We hit we got it done, baby. Getting 20x over the weekend is good. Covered the rest of our slips, some other near misses there, but let's keep on winning, and let's do it with Monday Night Football tonight. Baker Mayfield to throw an interception versus the Chiefs in this game. Obviously, Baker Mayfield is having a good year statistically. He's having a lot of high touchdown, high yardage games. He's had a lot of high interception games. He's had multiple interceptions thrown in his last 3 games. I think you just got to throw Baker Mayfield in this slip. He's still dealing with a injured wide receiver core, so the backup guys aren't quite as experienced. They're not quite as they're not quite as used to being in these big spots in prime time on Monday Night Football. So give me Baker Mayfield in this spot to throw an interception. Sorry for just listening to audio. I'm just laughing at the cat behind me. If you are watching on YouTube, you see what he is doing, spinning around my extra chair as another cat sits on me. So another one for this Monday Night Football slip. We're going to go with DeAndre Hopkins, higher than half of a rushing plus receiving touchdown. Nuke Hopkins just got to town last week. They didn't really get too much done with the Chiefs, but Patrick Mahomes was looking at him. I think Hopkins can work very, very well for this Chiefs team. I know that he's not as young as he once was, whatever. The dude still is a pro wide receiver, borderline Hall of Fame type wide receiver. So give me DeAndre Hopkins to score a touchdown here. We saw it take a couple of games with DeAndre Hopkins or Devontae Adams to get his touchdown for the Jets. Similar situation here. It's only been 1 game, but I think with the extra time, DeAndre Hopkins is a cerebral player. No time. It's not going to take him very long to figure out what is needed and expected of him in Kansas City. So give me the Chiefs' new wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, to score a touchdown in this game. Last one, we're going with their old but also new wide receiver, Xavier Worthy, to have higher than 40.5 rushing plus receiving yards. He's one of those guys that can take an end around 50 yards. He can take a pass 99 yards. He can do whatever. He can score from anywhere on the field. He's got that type of speed. He is a new record holder for the 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine. So give me Xavier Worthy higher than 40.5 rushing plus receiving yards, because he could do this on 1 run. He could do this on 1 pass. His passing total or his receiving yards total is just 35.5, and I was like, that's pretty low. He's a 2 target of 20 plus yards away from getting that one done. But I'm just thinking the amount of end arounds they can run with this guy, the amount of gadget plays they can do with this guy, I would really hate for him to have a 2 for 30 yards receiving day and then also have a 50-yard rush. So I like the combined 40.5 is a discount, I believe, based on the usage I expect for him in this spot, both passing and receiving. Obviously, there's a little bit of risk because if he gets an end around and gets blown up and he loses 7 yards, that kind of hurts everything. But for him, the juice is worth the squeeze because the big plays are there for this man. All right, so again, that Monday Night Football slip is Baker Mayfield. Having a great year in some categories and terrible year in other categories. Not terrible. That terrible area he is having is interceptions. So Baker Mayfield to throw interception on Monday Night Football. Then DeAndre Hopkins get his first touchdown as a Chief in this big spot. I mean, I love this spot. I love it as a single. If you're not on, if you've got other outlets besides Underdog where you can just make individual picks and not tie them together. DeAndre Hopkins scored touchdown against this Bucks defense. I love it. And then Xavier Worthy higher than 40.5 rushing plus receiving yards. That's a 7.99x, basically 8x multiplier there. And again, maybe roll over if you were listening to the Friday show and you got that 20x college football slip on Saturday. Roll some of those funds over here. Use a boost. There's always boosts on Underdog. If you're not on the Underdog app, you're missing out because they're giving you more than one way to make money every single day. All right, speaking of making money every single day, let's go to the National Basketball Association as well. I love the NBA for Underdog because if you move early, you can get really good stuff. These numbers all move a ton. Obviously, it's there's quite a lot of variance, right? Because a lot of NBA guys will sit out late or usage will not affect them. But also, you get rescues on Underdog if a guy gets hurt in the first half, which is awesome for playing props, and that's something that the sports books just really do not do outside of maybe a couple of the national ones in very specific instances. Having a just straight-up rescue policy for NBA NBA and NFL and that kind of thing for Underdog is absolutely awesome. So with that being said, we are going to take Alperen Sengun, my man of the on the Houston Rockets, to have a double-double in this game. Alperen Sengun obviously is a triple threat, passer, scorer, well, I should say scorer, passer, rebounder, all that stuff. He's a guy that's had like double-doubles in I think 5 of 6 games or something like that already this season. So there's not really too many holes in his game. I think you're getting like a 1.09x multiplier here, which is a little bit crazy for me because, again, he is that good of a player, and he's got that much consistency so far. I'm just double-checking stats because I accidentally deleted it on my note sheet, so I don't want to misspeak. But, yeah, double-doubles. He's had double-double in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of 6 games, as I said. Okay, good. I just didn't want to be lying to the folks out there. And again, in this matchup with the Rockets going to face the Knicks, I think he's going to do just fine. Or actually not hosting the Knicks. I think he's going to do just fine. Julius Randle, obviously, is going to be banging around down low for the boards and all that other stuff. But I don't think sorry, I said Julius Randle. I'm thinking about the old Nick, Karl Anthony Towns. I think that Sengun is going to be just fine to get that double-double here with the points and rebounds. And hey, if he doesn't assist, good for him. I'll take it. All right, I'm wasting too much time talking about my man Alperen Sengun, but that dude's so fun to watch. We're going to Chris Paul, old dog, higher than 10.5 points. Why would I take a points prop with Chris Paul? We know the guy doesn't shoot. We know he's kind of a he's more of a distributor than anything else. Yada yada yada. Well, let me tell you one thing about Chris Paul this season. He's been scoring a lot and he's been shooting a lot this year, like way more than you would expect. After the first 2 games of the season, he had 3 points and 3 points in the first 2 games. Since then, 16, 14, 19, 15. 4 consecutive games of way over 11 points. So higher than 10.5 seems pretty darn safe for me. Give me Chris Paul here. Last one, we're going to go with LaMelo Ball, higher than 25.5 points in a shootout against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Timberwolves have been playing so much high-scoring I have football in the brain. I said high-scoring basketball or high-scoring football. No, a lot of high-scoring basketball happening in T-Wolves land. Obviously, they're good defensively, but Edwards and LaMelo Ball are going to be dueling at the three-point line for this one. Give me LaMelo Ball higher than 25.5 points. The dude's making at least 5 3-pointers a game for the most part right now. When you just have a baseline of 15 before you factor in fouls and and floaters and drives and fast breaks and all that other stuff LaMelo Ball can do, it's a really low number in a game where I think the scoring environment is going to be a little bit better than you would expect. So this 3-leg NBA slip is a 6.54x multiplier. Alperen Sengun double-double. Chris Paul higher than 10.5 points. LaMelo Ball higher than 25.5 points. All right, last one. It's big college basketball debut day. We got to have a college basketball slip in some of these marquee games, so let's do it here. Wade Taylor, the 4th of Texas A&M, traveling to Orlando to play against the UCF Golden Knights there. Give me Wade Taylor higher than 18.5 points for UCF. Obviously, early in the season, we don't know everything about these teams, but we do know who Wade Taylor is. We know that he's a stud. We know that getting high into the 20s in a game is nothing too extreme for him. And I don't know, I'm not necessarily sold on the UCF team right now. I think that there could be a kind of a bottom dweller in the Big 12 before all is said and done. But also the Big 12 in both football and basketball is kind of a wild card on a year-to-year basis. So who knows what UCF is going to be. But I do know Wade Taylor is an elite college scorer. So give me this opportunity, or let me take this opportunity to get higher than 18.5 points with Wade Taylor. All right, next we're going to go Meechie Johnson, the Ohio State guard, higher than 10.5 points. Meechie Johnson, kind of a weird story here, right? So he played at Ohio State early in his career, then transferred to South Carolina. Now he's back at Ohio State. They're playing against Texas here. Season opener, season debut, back with his old team. His new old team. How often do you say that in college? That's like a pro thing, right? Meechie Johnson back with his new old team, higher than 10.5 points for Ohio State here. He's going to set the tone in his return game. Last one, another guy who transferred, but he hasn't transferred back and forth. Graham Ike of Gonzaga. He was a former Wyoming player. Graham Ike higher than 15.5 points versus Baylor. Big game in Spokane here. Obviously, Baylor is a good team. They're another top 10 team, so it's not like I expect them just to roll over I don't expect Gonzaga to roll over them. I just think Graham Ike is an experienced college basketball player at this point. So give me Ike higher than 15.5 points. A lot of chalk. I wouldn't necessarily go crazy in my first college basketball slip of the year. A lot to be learned from these teams, but I do love just rooting for some points with Wade Taylor, the fourth, Meechie Johnson, and Graham Ike, all of them over their points. Wade Taylor was 18.5, Meechie Johnson 10.5, Graham Ike 15.5. That's a straight up 6x multiplier. Also in NBA, Alperen Sengun higher than half a double-double, Chris Paul higher than 10.5 points, LaMelo Ball higher than 25.5 points, and then Monday Night Football slip, Baker Mayfield, interception, DeAndre Hopkins, touchdown, Xavier Worthy higher than 40.5, rushing plus receiving yards 7.99x. That's all I've got for you today. Let's make some money.